Welcome back to this. We're bringing the final segment of today's Price of Business, and I am your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. It's really important for you from a business perspective to make sure that your company is in the right stead when it comes to its legal posturing, and that's why I like to bring Marc Krasney on the program to talk about some really timely issues when it comes to you and the law. Marc, how are you, sir?
Doing well, Kevin. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing excellent. Real quickly, kind of give us the elevator speech about your law firm, the Krasney Law Firm, and then tell us, introduce your topic to us.
Yeah, you bet. What we do is we act like a non-traditional law firm. So whatever your listeners have as a preconceived notion about a law firm with the hourly billing, the surprise bills, forget it. What we do is come in and try to be part of your management team and want you, your company, to treat us, my law firm, as your outside counsel. So when you have an issue, some kind of problem, a question to be answered, contract to be reviewed, we do it. And we know the basic principles of your business, the strategies, things like that, and we become part of your management team so that when we do the task assigned, we hopefully can keep that client, that customer, out of legal trouble, lawsuits, things like that. And the best part of our business is we do our work on a flat fee. And it's a monthly retainer. The client pays that fee, and they get access to us. There's no surprise bills. There's no extra fees. There's none of that kind of stuff, so that it encourages the client to call us and get us involved when needed, not, well, I don't want to call Mark or his law firm because I'm going to get a bill. We don't. We take all that out, and we take out the conflict of interest.
Yeah, because let's face it, if you don't take care of the, the money you think you're saving nickel and diming is actually going to potentially accumulate into a much larger bill that you're definitely not going to want to deal with. And so that kind of relationship where you know that you can approach your attorney at any time, man, that's a huge advantage, and what a long-term cost savings.
And sadly, most people don't get that, Kevin, until 5-10 years into their business or when they have a lawsuit. Because at that point, typically with lawsuits, there is going to have to be an hourly billing system, and it probably will go on for a year, 2 years, and it's a huge hit to the client's bottom line.
Yeah, very, very good. Tell us about what you got for us today.
Well, the topic I was thinking of is sort of the best segue is what I had a second ago, which is a conflict of interest. When there is a billing relationship between the lawyer and the client, there is inherently a conflict of interest. Let me give you an example. You call me up, I look at the clock, the conversation lasted 2 minutes, but my firm's policy is to bill you on a quarter of an hour system, so you get billed for 15 minutes, even though I really only talked to you for 2 minutes. Lawyers do that all the time, and $300 plus $400, $500 an hour. Well, that doesn't really make much sense because, to me, right there, you've already done something that's jeopardizing the client. That's a conflict of interest. The other thing that most lawyers don't think about, nor do clients, is who really is the customer, who really is the client, and who does the privilege, this wonderful attorney-client privilege, actually extend. And again, with the conflict of interest, the lawyer has to make it very clear from the very beginning in an engagement letter that says, for example, your business, Kevin, is my entity, my covered client. And so when we have a relationship, what we would do is at the very beginning, we have an engagement letter that says, your company, this is the name, this LLC, this Inc., this limited partnership, this entity, and this specific director or manager of the entity is my contact. That is who the privilege extends. Now, if one of your somebody else calls and asks a personal question, it doesn't extend to the business, there's no privilege there. But a lot of times, clients don't always think about that, and they'll tell something to a lawyer. And the lawyer is in a pretty precarious spot because now he's more or less represented a shareholder or manager individually and the entity. That's a conflict of interest.
Yeah, that's absolutely a conflict of interest.
But it happens all the time.
Yeah, and in a field that, in spite of how much people like to make fun of lawyers, a field that's heavily regulated in the ethics arena, you would almost seem like this is this not considered illegal?
Well, we don't really say illegal. Lawyers are the only profession that govern themselves. We run by a code of professional responsibility, and there are rules in there, and there are specific rules about conflict of interest. And what we have to do as a bar is tell our client, here is who my privilege extends. It's the entity, it's the shareholder, it's the person, whomever, and that's it. In the event there is a conflict, we, as a member of the bar, have to go to the client and say, we see an inherent conflict of interest here, and explain. Informed consent, here's the conflict of interest. Now, client, understanding that, you can waive it, but we have to punt it to the client to understand conflict and then informed consent and waiver. And if we don't get that, that lawyer cannot represent either side and basically talk himself or herself out of business. But the idea really is communication with the client. And, on small stuff, our family relationships or personal relationships, it's not uncommon for a lawyer to just kind of glaze over that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what kind of questions should an individual be asking in light of this before they engage with an attorney?
I think the most important thing is full disclosure. For example, when you call up a lawyer and say, here's my issue, here's what I'm looking for, here's what I want, really discuss that relationship. And then, to me, you'll know if you're at a good, reputable law firm when that lawyer sends you an engagement letter that mirrors that conversation. For example, here's an engagement letter that memorializes our agreement. Here's what we said. Here's what we are going to do. Here's the extent of our relationship. And here is who my attorney-client privilege, my representation goes to, whether it's the shareholder, the entity, or whatever. And then, my engagement letter is several pages long. I have the client review it with me. We sign off on it. The monthly fees in there. Our scope of employment's in there. All that stuff should be in there so that in the event a month from now, I get a call and says, well, I didn't know. Literally, we can pull the file and say, well, sure you did. We went over it right here. See, it says this. Here's how much. Here's what. Here's how. Here's what we're going to do. And remember, you signed. And then, and then 16 years, I've not had this problem, just so you know. But if we did, I have no problem pulling the file and just saying, I appreciate the chance to work for your company, but, if there's a conflict and the client's not happy, the best thing that I was always taught in professional responsibility is to bow out. It's not necessary to continue on the involvement. Bow out, let that person go find a different lawyer.
Yeah.
But the real question is, get it in writing and really discuss the scope of employment.
Yeah, no question about it. Makes perfect sense. And by the way, how do we get more information about your law firm, Mark?
Yeah, sure. We have a pretty slick website, KrasneyLawFirm.com. Talks about the business arrangements we do. Our phone number's on there. Our office is in Southwest Houston. Most of my clients work with us by fax and email, phone. Many of them have never even been to my office. So most of our info is on the website, and we'd be happy to help anybody out.
Yeah, very good. Marc Krasney, by the way, you can learn more about him at KrasneyLawFirm.com. Plus, we'll have this interview posted over at US Daily Review before you know it. Thanks so much, Mark.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
When we come back tomorrow, we're going to have much more for you. I do want to remind you, though, the show continues 24/7 over at priceofbusiness.com. And the best content here shows up over there at usdailyreview.com. I want to thank our friends at C12 Group Houston and also the Krasney Law Firm for bringing us today's program.